Hi everybody, welcome to another week. It's week 3 in our summer knit along live at Muskoka Yarn Connection featuring the Butterfly Cowl, and I know some of you have opted to do the Butterfly Shawl, which is a version of this one, but maybe 3 times more pattern work. So today I'm going to go over the yarn that we're using for some of you that may just be joining for the first time, and tips and helpful hints to get you through the final stage of the project. I'm just going to find you on my screen here. Feel free to post in the comments. Let us know if you're knitting in a nice cool place today. And just say hi to your fellow knit-alongers. It is a very, very hot weekend in Muskoka. I think we're going up to about 39 degrees tomorrow. So this cowl is a design that you can find on Ravelry. I'll put the link below in the comment section. It's designed by Marinya, and there are over 400 projects already posted in the Ravelry page featuring this pattern, and over 3,000 versions of her butterfly shawl. So the shawl came out first, and then she designed this one as sort of a little taste test. If you're a little bit nervous about doing a shawl, she thought it'd be fun for you to try her short row techniques with self-striping yarns on a smaller version. This is knit in the round. There's no sewing to do, and it's completely seamless at the back. There are make one right increases, make one left. You'll see all the information on how to do those increases on our events page, Summer KAL, K-A-L. There's a little bit of lace work that some of you might be coming to now this week, the 3rd week. And the short row technique. We're using the wrap and turn method, which is also posted in the event page as a tutorial, just to walk you through if you're not familiar with doing that method. And the yarn of choice is, of course, the earth fingering. They make those gorgeous, vivid, stripy colorways. If you haven't looked at the event page this week, you'll see there is a shawl posted with this colorway and maybe a cowl too. Progress pics. Please feel free to post your progress pics on the event page. The color that I've used for the shop sample, the main color, is this one. 100 gram skein will do 2 cowls. It does require 2 of these if you do the shawl, and 100 gram of a semi-solid or solid fingering weight for the shawl. For our cowl, we only need a 20 gram mini for the contrast color. So we've got navy blue, royal blue, and I think most of us have chosen black with the very vivid colors. So it's really whatever strikes your fancy at the moment. And we did choose this project for the month of August and for the summer, as it symbolizes our transformation, which we're all going through after the last 1.5 years. I'm going to go over the bead work today, how to work the beads into your project if you choose to do that with a crochet hook. That's the simplest method. And I will also post a video on the event page which will go a little bit slower, so you can pause it. Although for those of you who watch the video later at night, it's not live, so you can always pause it and go back and see what I'm doing a little closer. And I will go over how to enlarge the lace work if you feel you want a bit more showing before you do your final contrast color border. And then also I've added the picot etch. So those directions I will type into the event page. And as always, we have our grand prize draw whenever we do a knit along. This one I'm adding another item each week, just stuffing it in there. And we'll have the live draw right here next week at 4 p.m. Hope you can join us. And we have our ballot bucket here. So everybody who signed up for the knit along has already one ballot inside. And if you're participating each week live, you'll see that we have an incentive trivia question that one lucky winner receives as an extra ballot to go into the bucket. So we will have that at the end of the live video today. The last 2 weeks we had an incentive ballot going to Leslie, and the first week one went to Cindy. So congratulations to the two of you. You have even more chances of winning. So the needle size that we're using for the cowl, we've upped it from a 2.75 millimeter to a 3 millimeter. If you're doing the picot cast off, shown here, I put a note in my pattern, the original pattern, that I did the cast off row with a 2.75, only because the picot edge does tend to flare out a little bit. It's a very stretchy cast off. So if you're worried that your cowl may flip up at the bottom and not lay flat, please go down one size needle just for the final row. And the size of crochet hook that I've recommended, if you get the same size beads, which I have, which is a size 6, I'm using a 1.25 hook. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the pattern quickly. Hi Selena, thanks for joining us on such a hot day. I hope it's cool, you know, indoors, wherever you are. We've got about 4 more days of this heat wave. So the most notes I've made are on the final page. Okay, so I'm going to bring the cowl up to the camera and then you can see the details on it. It's really a gorgeous art piece. I'm sure if you've made one, you're going to make more. So one of the tips that I found helpful is when you're starting to join the cowl in the round, at this point, you'll see, just like if you're doing the V-neck shaping or the underarm shaping of a garment, you'll see that there's always a bit of stretch when the two directions meet. So I like to clip either with a stitch marker, an open stitch marker, or a little seam clip. I like to clip it there to take a bit of the stress off until I finish knitting the border of the cowl. Here you can see the beads are worked in the second last row of the border. I've used 24, and I'll give you all my notes on how to space them apart. And the lace work here equals about 1 inch in the main color. And there's that lovely center spine. Okay. So the beads I purchased from Michael's. I put the link also in our events page. Some of the knit-alongers have found some at Etsy sources online. You want to have a nice high quality bead. Glass is preferable because that will give you all the shading as it catches the light. So this is size 6, and that will allow me to put a crochet hook through the middle of it. So I'm going to show you that technique right now. I have a very small project I'm working on. It's actually a sock. We'll just pretend it's a cowl because it's the same weight as what the cowl is knit in, fingering weight. So what I do is, step 1, I place my bead on the crochet hook shaft. So you want to have a little bowl or a saucer handy where you can put the beads in, and then you're ready just to insert it onto the tip of the crochet hook. And then when you're ready to introduce a bead into your knit work, all you're going to do is insert the crochet hook. Just get my needle points ready. Insert the crochet hook in to your first stitch. Take it off the needle, and at this point you're better off to have your crochet hook facing upward so that you can catch the yarn all the way through the bead. It's as easy as that. So it's now a little collar. The bead is a collar around the base of your stitch. And then all you do is slip it back on the same way it came off, which is purlways. Slip it onto the left needle. Make sure you haven't lost any of the little plies of the yarn. And then you're just going to knit across. So you knit into the stitch as normal. I don't have my fourth needle handy, but I'll try it with my second. And once you've knit the stitch, the bead is locked into position. It will project forward into your work. And you just merrily knit across until the next, I think I'm doing it after every 7 stitches, but I'll put that in the notes. So there's no way that the bead can roll away or come loose. It's definitely secure in there. Okay. I hope that's helpful. There will be a video tutorial posted, as I said, on the event page, so that makes it much clearer too. It's a little bit hard in front of this camera. Hi, Karen. Yes, I'm staying cool today. I've just turned the air conditioner off because it's a bit noisy, but I'll turn it back on after the video. And I think we've got a little bit of a breeze outside. So where I've placed the beads. Okay, so if you're looking at the last 2, 4, 5, 6 rows of your pattern for the cowl, I've put them in the second last row of the garter stitch. So it's going to be in the contrast color. For me, that was the black. So I needed a bead that really showed up against the black, but also drew the colors from my main color. We had somebody in today who was working on pale pink as her contrast color and shades of purple and lilac as her main color. So she's going to go with a paler pink, sort of an opalescent bead, and work those into the edge. So it's very personal what beads you choose and the colors and the shapes. You can have octagon shaped, you can have teardrop shaped, you can have a circular one, which I've used here, or oblong. They all look gorgeous. It's just a little bit of extra bling, and I'm sure we can all use that nowadays. So I will put the notes in how many stitches you knit before you start your first bead and how many stitches in between. And the picot edge, which I mentioned I did on one size smaller needle, which is the original size of needle that the cowl pattern asks for, 2.75. That is your final row, and it's also your cast off row as you go. So those notes will be in the event by this evening. Basically all I was doing was casting off 2 stitches as normal, and then into the remaining stitch I slipped it back to the left needle, and then I cast on 2 new stitches doing the knitted cast on method. The knitted cast on method is where we're actually knitting into a stitch to create a new stitch, and then we put it back on the needle. So that will be explained. And then I was casting off the 2 stitches that I've just made, so that creates that little bump, decorative bump, and then I would cast off 2 stitches in between. So it's 2 stitches in between on the cowl row, and then I make 2 stitches, and then I cast those 2 stitches off right away. So it's 2 by 2 by 2, easy to remember. So that is the addition to the final row, and that will take you right to the back of the cowl, and then you can fasten off your last stitch and sew in your ends. Blocking, we suggest that you soak the cowl in Eucalan wool wash, which is all natural, there's no chemicals. Soak it for 20 minutes, give it a little swish with your hands so the suds will be absorbed into the fabric, and then squeeze out the water, roll it in a towel, try to get the dampness out, especially during this very humid weather. And then last step is either to pin it You'll see one of the knit-alongers showing a picture of her pinned cowl in blocking position on a mat in our event page. Or if you feel it doesn't really require pinning, I didn't do any pinning on mine. I just smoothed it out with my hands and made sure there were no rolls, and it was all very symmetrical. And let it dry. It'll probably take a day and a half during the summertime. And then you're ready to wear it or gift it and cast on and start a new one. It is so addictive. That's what we keep hearing. Very, very addictive. Okay, so now we'll move into our butterfly trivia. So this is just a fun fact, and then I'll give you a trivia question to answer in the comments for an incentive ballot. Did you know there are more than 165,000 species of butterflies worldwide? Some are as small as 1 centimeter, that's their wingspan, or as large as a dinner plate, so that's about a 12-inch wingspan. The largest one is known as the Queen Alexandra butterfly. Many come in vibrant colors, just like our yarn, but there is also a type of butterfly that is called a glass-winged butterfly because the wings are totally transparent. So wouldn't that be the ideal camouflage if you want to eavesdrop on somebody's conversation? Okay, the trivia question today, again, we're not picking the fastest commenter, we're just picking a random comment who has the correct answer. Which is the one continent where butterflies do not exist? And you may know that, I may have mentioned it last week, that butterflies need heat to warm their wings so that they're able to fly. So that's a clue. So I will just let the comments come in slowly. Feel free to post your guess, even if you're not sure. We're looking for a continent somewhere in this great vast planet where butterflies do not exist. And I will leave you with, I thought, a very fitting quote on our butterfly theme. And if anybody knows the author of the quote, please post it in the comments. I know who it is, but it's always nice if somebody else will take mention of the author too. Butterflies can't see their wings, they can't see how truly beautiful they are, yet everyone else can. People are like that as well. I just think that's very fitting to many of us. So I hope everybody has a great weekend and is getting lots of progress done on their Cowl project. So next week, Friday at 4 p.m. live, we will have the draw for this beautiful basket. I'm going to add something else to it during the week, and hopefully you'll post some progress pics on the event page so we can all share and encourage you and encourage the other knit-alongers. I see the answers are coming in very quickly. Good work. Okay, that's it for me. I'm off to enjoy my weekend and do some knitting. Hope you're doing the same.